Back talking Cougar soccer with the head coach of the Columbia College Cougar men's and women's squads, Coach John Klein. Year number 2 of the women's program, 5 wins on the year, a couple losses just right outside that receiving votes. As far as the top 25, the men have dropped to number 21, but still in that top 25 and continue to roll in conference play. A couple of big games coming up and even more home matches. That's got to be a little not necessarily easier, but a little more comforting to know that you won't have some of the traveling. You'll be able to play a majority of your matches, at least in October, at home.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time on the road, so it is exciting to get back home, and the field looks great. We've not done a lot of damage to it. Looking forward to host some quality soccer games at Marvin Owens and get the crowd out in Columbia and see some good soccer. So we got some new netting down there. It looks awesome.
Anybody driving on Wilkes, thanks you guys for the protection for some of that at least. But
collects all the balls on both ends, right in front of the Science Center and right on Wilkes. So the field looks good. Looking forward to getting home.
And as far as the practice, what's that routine like? Obviously, with Coach John Deshay moving on to Ottawa, yourself and Megan Gill, your assistant and student assistant. You're going to wait till the end of the year or in the off season to bring on that coaching position. But has anything changed as far as the way practices are set up? Take somebody watching through a little bit of how it's like coaching both programs.
No, and Nikola Belikvich is a student assistant as well this year, and so 3:30 girls are on the field. 3:30 to 5:30 their session goes. Guys come out at 5 o'clock, warm up, and they go right to 7 o'clock. So it's real efficient. Megan and Nick are great. Generally we run the same session. We're working on the same things with both teams. I think as we get later into the year, each program will need its own specialty workouts. But right now I feel really good. Both teams are energetic at practice. And we move from the girls into the guys, and the guys are just a little bit more energetic than the girls. I think just naturally the game is faster and more physical. So I've really enjoyed doing it, and Megan and Nick have been terrific. So everything's working smoothly. And yeah, as the end of the season approaches, we'll open that assistant's position up and figure out who we think is the best fit for that spot.
Somebody asked me the other day, I know Coach Mike Davis with the women's basketball team sometimes brings in some guys to practice against to play that scout team role, if you will. I know Coach Washington has done it in the past with some guys playing against the volleyball team. Is that something you've ever done before with the women in practice or not?
No, we haven't done it. I think we get pretty good intensity out of it, and it's just an individual challenge. But we'll play 10v10, 8v8. Megan will jump in. I'll jump in occasionally. It's been less and less as the years have gone on. But I think we get what we need in terms of competition out of our workouts, and we've not brought in outsiders for that.
Gotcha. As far as some surprises, who are your at this early stage, 8 matches into the season for both squads roughly? Who are a couple of those players from both teams that they're jumping out at you going, wow, okay, I like this? Well,
on the ladies' side, I think we've been very excited about our new players. Taylor Hagenoff out of Elias High School has been exceptional, and really wanted to have her at the right back. With Mallory Page's injury, we've moved her to the center back. Kelly Westhuse then has to come back to the right back. Kind of wanted to get Kelly more into the attack this year, but Taylor is just solid. She's big and strong and has some speed, and she's good on the ball and kind of initiates our attack from the back. Can be very dangerous playing the diagonal ball if Stephanie Hale's on the left side. So really like what Taylor's done, and really like the idea that she's a true freshman. We're going to have her around for a while. And then Mackenzie Knepper, who's a former teammate of Lauren Beischer's over at Southwestern Illinois College in Belleville. She came in and she scored a big goal against Baker, scored a hat trick in one of the early games. And
her first game. It was the first game.
That's right. Yeah. She really strikes a ball hard, and she's always dangerous. So those have been 2 nice surprises. Not surprises, we wanted them to do what they're doing, but it's nice to see them do what you recruited them for.
Most definitely. And then what about on the men's side?
On the men's side, we've been trying to ask guys to step up, and I don't think we've seen all-star performances yet, but in the Missouri Baptist game, certainly it's nice to see Rafa get on the board with 4 goals. We've had a couple injuries at right back, and we moved Jovan Illich back there yesterday. And he's real aggressive. He likes to go forward. Made a couple overlap runs yesterday, got a couple of assists out of it, and he's just solid. So that was great to see. Our 2 center midfielders really stepped up yesterday. Akil Noel from Trinidad. He's been getting more and more comfortable, and he's real big, long legs, wins a lot of balls for us in there. And then J.P. Gronberg had just a terrific defensive center midfield performance yesterday. So I think we're starting to settle in on a general lineup. But the thing about the guys' side is we have 24 players, and every single one of them can go into the game. It's just, and they can all contribute at a collegiate level. We're looking for somebody to contribute at a top 10 collegiate level, and put us in that top 10 category. And I think right now our 21 ranking is about where we are. A little bit inconsistent, haven't proven that we belong in the top 10, but every team that's in the top 10 is going to fear us. If they play us, they know we're going to compete with them. So just looking for a little more consistency right now.
And obviously early on, a tough loss with Eden Campera transfer coming in from Lyon. You're going to have him for the non-con and a national tournament possibility, but with the injury for him, took him out for the season, and that's a tough one for the offense to kind of rally around.
I mean, ACL, MCL, and meniscus, all 3 of them. So, his season is done. I guess the silver lining there is that he was hurt in the 2nd game of the year, and he should get that year back. So, it looks like we'll have Eden for 3 solid years, and but he will be missed. He's extremely dangerous, physical, hardworking, can strike a ball, has speed. He has it all, and we'll certainly miss him.
What next question, as far as the scheduling is concerned in the conference? Obviously, on the men's side, especially Hannibal LaGrange is kind of that target. They're up near the top 10 or top 15 right now. You don't play them till the end of the conference schedule. The women last year, you took Park to the wire. Is that pretty much the top teams right now in the way the conference is shaking out? Or I know MoBAP on the women's side, obviously right now undefeated at 3-0 in AMC, but what is the conference looking like as a whole, do you think, for you guys?
I think on the guy side, Hannibal's always there. You never know. I haven't followed those teams that we're not playing very much. I haven't looked deeper into their rosters, but Hannibal's always good. Dave does such a good job over there. I might like to switch it around where we start playing them earlier in the year rather than later, because it takes them just a little while to get organized. And I think they let in 7 goals in a game last year, and I thought, okay, we'll be able to score against that team, and then they shut us out, late in the year when it was important. So they're solid. William Woods, they have some veteran players. Park's results on the men's side haven't looked great, but they'll be dangerous. And on the women's side, Park seems to be down just a bit based on their results. But that these teams and these coaches are working hard to get things organized. And by the time we see them at the end of conference, nothing will be easy. So, we let one get away at MoBAP. We're going to have to work hard for every conference women's game, and hope that somebody can catch MoBAP. And I think we got a shot on the men's side.
A lot of it's consistent. The conference is bigger, more teams, more competition, and ultimately it'll come down to who can make their way through on that conference tournament and make it to the national tournament. We come back, a former Cougar is expecting a big honor coming up, going into the Columbia College Hall of Fame. We'll talk a little bit about that and when and where that ceremony will be, and more of that coming up with the Cougar coach, John Klein, the Cougar Coaches Show here on MediaCom Channel 22.
Check it out.
DSL. It's so cheap.
Like it? Now people will switch back.
Well, MediaCom is still up to 10 times faster.
Yeah.
And pretty much necessary for homes with lots of devices.
Well, yeah.
And the recent FCC report said that MediaCom delivered on its 15 meg speeds, and DSL didn't. So really...
DSL is overpriced.
Yeah. Get Mediacom and get speeds up to 15 meg for just $9.95 a month for 1 year. Call 888-SIMPLIFY.
We're talking soccer with the head coach of the men and women at Columbia College, John Klein, on the Mediacom Coaches Show here on Channel 22, also on ColumbiaCougars.com. And if you haven't played around with the new website, ColumbiaCougars.com, all kinds of extra video features, stats, schedule information, and more. And one of the big things coming up for Columbia College is the family homecoming weekend. Games, the Hall of Fame ceremony will be on Friday the 4th, and then Saturday the 5th. They're between live games, volleyball scrimmages. The basketball teams are scrimmaging. Softball teams doing their thing out at Antimi. You guys have a men's home game that afternoon, 3:30. Is that right?
I believe 3:30.
And Mid-Continent comes to town. That's another new team to the AMC conference out of Kentucky, right?
Right. And we have played Mid-Continent on the men's side in recent years, or over the years, and have always been a competitive squad. They don't have women's soccer, so we won't have a women's match that day. I would expect they might add it in the next year or two. But yeah, our conference is deeper, Mid-Continent, Freed-Hardman. So some new teams that we'll have to be watching out for.
Come out and watch the team on that homecoming day. I want to make sure I get all of the people going into the Hall of Fame. Dr. Gerald Bruder, of course, the retired president and very big contributor. John Haggerty from baseball from back in 1979. Greg Logan from men's hoops from 79. Laura Small from softball in 89. And then soccer fans of Columbia College, you remember Vladimir Roganovich from 2005. And Vlada was quite a impactful player for your soccer team. Tell anybody who's not familiar with what he did over at our Marvin Owens, what kind of a player he was and why he is well deserved of going into the Cougar Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Vladimir is one of the great, Cougar alums and very loyal to the college. In fact, he's up in Kansas City and involved in coaching. Sent us a player on the women's side this year, Carly Howe. She's doing a great job. But Vlada is one of the great ones in a nice list of center backs that we've had over the years. And when I first got here, it was Kjell Einar-Tyen, the Norwegian who was already here. Dan Hogan had recruited him, and he was so solid. And unfortunately, he passed away of cancer several years ago. And then Vladimir followed him, and then Vladimir kind of led the way for the Serbian connection. And of course, Nikola Vlikvic was here, but Vladimir was terrific back there. Had good size, very strong on the ball, loved to win balls in the air defensively, and he was just passionate about the game, and he's very deserving of a Hall of Fame honor that he'll receive.
Anytime I see his name, I always think that was one of the first names when I first started doing stuff with the soccer team as PA announcer. I was always the first double check with how do you okay, all right, got it, all right, here we go. And then since then it's been, like you said, the steady stream of that recruiting. But that it just it's another one of those talk with the Cougar family of the soccer program, and really in all the sports. A lot of the former athletes that graduate and move on that stay involved in sports and athletics on the coaching side or whatever. It ends up kind of continuing to help in that recruiting base for future athletes.
Yeah, it's terrific. Because the internationals, they like to call and just make recommendations, suggestions, and you still have to do your research. But it's nice to have Vladimir up in the youth community up in Kansas City, and I suspect that we'll get several more Kansas City players over the years from. He's got a nice little club operation going up there. They've got multiple teams. So, and he was a true student of the game, and he certainly anticipated that he'd wind up in coaching as a profession.
Most definitely one of those players that you could see as he progressed coaching on the field and then now off the field. The Cougars again at homecoming weekend, the 4th and 5th of October, and the Hall of Fame ceremony is on campus that evening, the 4th, and then the game on Saturday. A full list of all the different events involving literally all of the teams in some capacity, whether it's an actual game or a scrimmage of some sort. I guess really the only ones unfortunately on the outer would be the soccer team, because the opponent doesn't have, but that's the scheduling.
The women's
you're trying to
soccer
make,
team,
here this week with Stevens, the men don't have a game because there's no, obviously, men's team at Stevens College for you ladies. Well, hopefully the ones that are injured that can get back quick, and the Cougars make a push here in the middle portion of the season, and we'll talk to you again as we get closer to the end of the season and conference tournament time. Coach, appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cosmo.
Coach John Klein. Again, the Cougars soccer schedules on the website, ColumbiaCougars.com. A lot of home games in October, only 2 or 3 in September. So if you get a chance, get out to our Marvin Owens, check out the new science building and the soccer field, and watch the ladies and the guys play soccer out at our Marvin. Thanks for watching the Cougar Coaches Show here on Mediacom Channel 22.